Right, so we've heard a lot about OLED iPad Pros in the past, but now we have details regarding the screen sizes we can expect, and so let's delve into it. So of course, there's been talk about bigger iPad Pros coming in the near future, and Ross Young now tells us that yes, the upcoming OLED iPad Pros could be slightly larger than the existing models. Specifically, he says 11.1 inches and 13 inches could be the new screen sizes, and those really aren't big changes, and does make me think that Apple's going to give us the same body but with thinner bezels. Now yes, in the past I've been against slimmer bezels for the iPads, however considering we have very similar 11-inch iPads in the lineup, it's a good idea to differentiate the smaller iPads and give it thinner bezels to make it look futuristic. Also, many Android rivals have much thinner bezels on the front, and of course Apple charges a very high price for these iPads, so they should ideally be matching their competition in this aspect. So yeah, those could be the new screen sizes, and for those wondering, are we going to see even bigger iPads in the future, like of course some reports have suggested? Well, Ross Young himself has told us the 14-inch iPad that was in the works has been either delayed or cancelled, and so I don't think a 14-inch or 16-inch iPad is going to be launching anytime soon. And to be fair, that's not a massive issue because we should not get radically larger iPads till Apple changes up the software, because what's the point of having a super large iPad if you can only run the restricted iPadOS experience and not have access to any pro applications? So yeah, basically Apple, take your time with this, first fix iPadOS, then get to larger iPads. And yeah, for the time being, these slightly larger OLED panels would be ideal for most consumers. Now for those wondering, are we going to see new iPad Pros launch in 2023 before this OLED refresh? I don't think that's going to be the case because, on average, iPad Pros are updated every 18 months, and so considering we got the last refresh in October 2022, we should see the next release in early 2024, so that should ideally be this OLED update, and there should not be any other iPad Pro refresh before this. And to be fair, Apple should not be giving us yearly updates with the iPad Pro because the hardware is already more than good enough. Apple should focus on the software first, and so yeah, don't expect any new iPad Pros to launch in 2023. And by the way, I do want to mention I'm very glad Apple's giving us OLED on the smaller size as well, because obviously with Mini LED, Apple neglected the 11-inch size. Only the bigger size got the update, and so I'm glad Apple's giving us OLED on both sizes. Now as for other updates to expect with these OLED iPad Pros, it should basically only be the M3 chip. The OLED displays are going to be the big upgrades, but that's about it for the changes. I'm not expecting anything else. Like ideally, I would love to see a landscape camera on this, similar to the iPad 10, but that might not be the case because, number one, the iPad Pros have Apple Pencil 2 support, and so the magnetic strip takes up the space for the landscape camera, but also remember these iPads are allegedly getting slimmer bezels, and so it's going to be even harder for Apple to fit any sort of camera in a landscape orientation. However, Apple could actually kind of fix this by just moving the position of either the Apple Pencil strip or the front-facing camera. So for example, we could see the strip over to the right side of the iPad, and we see the camera in the middle instead. So yeah, hopefully Apple can make that happen because it's still pretty odd. The cheaper base iPad has advantages over the iPad Pro. That just makes no sense. We should also see the function row come to the Magic Keyboard because, once again, it makes no sense. The accessory for the cheaper iPads has better features than the more expensive iPads. And so yeah, the landscape camera and the function row should be added to these new iPads. Also regarding the function row, I'm praying we see a huge refresh to the Magic Keyboard because it's basically been untouched for years now, and there are some must-need improvements, like for example better material choices. I think the leather plasticky material they use right now does not age well, so of course replacing that with a metal finish would be nice. Also additional ports on the keyboard would be nice. Also a holder for the Apple Pencil to protect it when traveling, because obviously usually the pencil's exposed at the top and it could easily be scratched or could fall off. So yes, having an inbuilt pencil holder like some patents have suggested would be nice, and I'm praying we see a huge overhaul to the Magic Keyboard. Also, talking about the pencil, we've been waiting for an update for that, maybe a new black finish, Maybe haptics to recreate the feel of rougher paper, that would be nice. I'm sure many of those who do art on the iPads are going to massively appreciate that. And so yes, I'm waiting to see major upgrades for the accessories to the iPad. But now let's delve into your questions. So Michael says, macOS on the iPad's not likely unless it's a bare bones version when the iPad's docked. Also, I can see a 14-inch iPad being possible, but not a 16-inch iPad unless it's a drawing screen display like a Wacom Cintiq. Now, I doubt that Apple's going to go down that route, but yes, I think a 14-inch iPad, essentially a 12.9-inch model with thinner bezels, that could make sense. But a 16-inch iPad does seem pretty unlikely for the most part. And also regarding macOS, yes, I'm sure there's going to be compromises, but ultimately I can live with that. I just want the iPad to be a proper computer with software that of course is fully utilizing the M2 chip inside. Now regarding bigger OLED iPad Pros, Shanti says, I am a graphic designer and the iPad Pro is a perfect tool for my work. About the display size, I think the 12.9-inch body is perfect, but I would love to see thinner bezels and OLED. And yeah, I also think 12.9 inches is perfect for most consumers, and I'm glad a graphic designer like yourself also thinks this. And yeah, OLED's going to be a big upgrade for the iPads, so I'm excited we're finally getting it. So Alex H says, Drew from Talos of Tech had a good theory that Apple's waiting for the Mac transition to be fully over as we got the redesign and the new Apple Silicon chips. And then after the Mac Pro's updated, Apple will start to give the iPad more love, not only hardware-wise, but possibly software-wise too. It should be the biggest set of upgrades since the 2018 iPad Pros. And I'm hoping Drew's right about that because it does seem like the iPad's in a pretty awkward stage right now where of course it's getting all this high-end hardware like the M2 chip, but the software's not fully utilizing it. And so yes, maybe once the transition's fully complete and we're done with the Mac Pro refresh, then we see Apple give the iPad some attention. So Sharif says, I think mini LED is fine, I just want them to increase the resolution, and I'm completely the opposite. I'm fine with the resolution as is, I just want OLED. And to be honest, I'm surprised you want a higher resolution panel because I think the resolution we have now is more than fine for most, and anything higher could of course obliterate the battery life. Since imagine if we got 8K panels on these iPads, that would be a very power hungry component. And so yes, I couldn't care less about a higher resolution. So yeah, that's about it guys, but tell me your thoughts regarding this report in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding new HomePods, and on that note, see ya peeps.